Hey, what's up there, guys? Just sitting here checking out some corn. Just scouting this field, it makes me want to bring up one big issue. When I always say, especially with Florida, we need to think about how we're using our fertilizers. For example, our soil here is pretty sandy. That's back in Kansas. I'd have bought that in a bag at Ace Hardware. I'm not putting Florida down by any means. It's just what happens when you're surrounded by the ocean and all this coral left. This is the same calcium carbonate, for example, that corals make their exoskeleton with. But what it all boils down to, guys, is making sure that we use our fertilizers correctly. That way the plants are getting fed and we're feeding the world, but we're not wasting anything that goes into our waterways. For example, in Florida, the way it rains, you'll always see these little channels dug out. In the future, I plan on creating buffer zones on these areas. I think they should be involved for best management practices with farmers, which a lot of people don't know is a law in Florida. It's not voluntary like most states are, or like how it used to be. If you break one of those laws, you're breaking the law. So it's no longer voluntary. But yeah, guys, that's pretty sandy stuff. So a lot of our fertilizers are known to just simply leach. When we use granular fertilizer, for example, slow release granular fertilizer, the plant can only take up about 15% of that, if it all works out well. Now think about this, that most granulars, in fact all granulars, are encapsulated, meaning they take time to break down. Now when we just got 6 inches of rain in the dry season here in Florida and can expect 60 inches plus, it's a pretty big issue, because those capsules that are supposed to slowly release into the soil that would be ideal for, let's say, Kansas or something, it doesn't work that way with our soil. Our soil is basically just sand here in a lot of places. Now when you're talking about farms like down in Bella Glade and stuff like that south of Lake Okeechobee, it's a little bit different, but that's because we altered our ecosystem, and as a result all that muck turned into some pretty good farm soil. Now think about those capsules, guys. What happens if we get that 6-inch rain like we did here this last few days? All that stuff just ends up in our water channels and it slowly breaks down in here. These are how farms work here in Florida. Now, we can simply stop a lot of the pollution by applying the right kind of fertilizers. I think that's ideal. It doesn't take too big of a look at this water, to tell that we have a little bit of nutrient pollution. It's not exactly clear, and you guys can see that little film that kind of looks like oil on top. All these things that we can do just to implement better farming practices and a better environment. Now remember, let's say you're not a farmer. Most likely you've got a yard. So think about the idea that you're doing everything that we're doing, but for no reason at all. Agriculture is 100% completely necessary, where landscaping is 100% completely unnecessary. So just something to think about. So here in the state of Florida, we do see more nutrient pollution from lawn care than we do from agriculture. You guys have a great day.